Our blood is our oath. Those words were said in the years before the Enlightenment, back in the waste of Colchis, when the enemy were cruel priests and heartless lore lords. They were spoken again when the Emperor came in his false glory. Now they were uttered in real, total truth for the first time, and it was a renewal. The Legion was born again under Lorgar's revelations, and it was, at last, right. The other, older truths, now revealed in the light of the new as mere husks, had been sloughed off as a snake would shed a desiccated skin. These ghost truths were not mistakes, but tests. The 17th Legion had been tested and found good. How could it be otherwise? The word-bearers had broken down the barriers and at last ascended the path of the real truth. The Great Road was revealed. Tanis Creed believed this with all his heart. Doubt was unknown to him. If his legion had failed to comprehend, if his master had not seen and brought them illumination, then they would have been forever trapped in false dogma. For a moment, he thought of the Ultramarines, who would perish on far distant Kalth. The hide-bound Imperial fists, whose days are similarly numbered. The Salamanders and Raven Guard, ground into dust beneath the boot heel of the New Order. None of them saw as the word-bearers saw. None of them saw what Creed laid his eyes upon now. A being made of nightmares and war. Too terrible for paltry words to encompass. It spared him an arch look, and he recoiled, his flesh searing. The acolyte brought up his hands to shield his face and felt them burn cold. Creed's eyes prickled as if 1,000 needles stabbed through them into his skull. Each time he tried to gain some understanding of the massive, bestial form, the scale of it slipped away from him. It filled the room, and yet it seemed even larger than that. The iron walls surrounding them, decorated with layers of profane iconography, took on new, impermanent dimensions. Reality seemed to distort around the towering behemoth. All around the chamber, the Litanic servitors were dropping dead where they stood, multiple mouths open in voiceless screams. At last, the monster turned away, and mercifully Creed was, for the moment, once again beneath its notice. Across the Sikellum, the War Master's ghostly avatar gave a nod to the winged creature.
What are you?
The question flashed across the void, buzzing with malice.
Names are for senators.
It rumbled, drooling black venom through gaping jaws. The creature gave an exaggerated bow, the blurred mass of it making a mockery of so very human a gesture.
Know that I am a warlord of the damned, arbiter of unmercy. I am your general upon the field of battle for this great conflict, Horus Lupercal.
It chuckled and gave a mocking salute in the oldest of ways, flicking a clawed hand from his savage brow.
I know you yearn to call me demon. The word fits well. I'll skin it in the word about my girth.
It rocked back and forth on taloned feet, exuding a sense of incredible fury barely held back in check. The massive creature was almost squirming with the need to commit violence, and Creed dared to wonder what it could do given unfettered release. Above the shivering mass of the warp flask, upon the bloody deck, Horus's face hazed and reformed into a scowl.
If you are a mere general, then where is your commander-in-chief?
There was a barb there, and the beast reacted to it, chains about his arms rattling in annoyance.
It is indisposed. Much is to be done, I am told. Final preparations.
The demon shrugged, as if the thought of such a thing disgusted it.
The work of the hesitant and the timid witch minds disgusts me.
It leered.
I came for blood and skulls.
You will have them, enough to slate your thirst and more,
Horus promised.
if you do as I command you now.
Creed sensed an undercurrent beneath the War Master's words, and he felt a flutter of panic in his heart. The scope of this great turning, the complex and perfect design of the betrayal at Cygnus had been planned with exacting focus and absolute precision by the hand of Erebus and his ethereal cohorts. It could not be changed, not at the 11th hour, not even by Horus Lupercal. the fulcrum of the war to end all wars. The acolyte dared to stand, taking a step towards the smoke phantom that carried the War Master's presence. "My lord," he began, "what do you intend?" The demon made a motion with the smallest of his claws, less than a gesture. Still, it was enough to make Tanis Creed's lungs and throat fill with tainted bile. The gooey, purple-black ooze gushed from his lips and nostrils, drowning him as he stood there. He swayed, the agony shocking him rigid, yet somehow, he was not dead, even as the oil-thick fluid refused to expel itself from his body. Creed crashed down to the scarred mosaic floor and lay there, shivering.
"My thirst is great,"
said the beast, a grin growing with too terrifying width.
"and my tastes refined.
A wicked tongue flicked out, tasting the air.
Mortals are common and good.
It nodded towards Creed.
I look forward to sampling these chain forged."
I will give you a Primarch's blood, an angel's skull.
Said the War Master.
Is that a prize that will sway your full loyalty to me in this?
A great quaking churn of laughter beat at the walls.
Samus was right. For an ephemeral, you are very clever, Horus Lupercal. You have my measure.
The laugh ground the air with its passing once more.
A brother's essence, made sweet with despair and sorrow.
And hate.
Horus broke in.
There will be much hate.
I want that. I will gorge on it.
The demon growled.
Give it to me. Tell me how.
At last, the pain ebbed, and Creed could breathe again. His flesh was hot and filmed with sweat as his bio-implants worked feverishly to rid his body of the toxins that had briefly flooded it. Still, he was able to force out a few words.
"Sanguinius, the plan!"
Horus's avatar merged into a newer, more savage expression.
Erebus's plan. Their plan.
He shook his head.
Not mine.
Moment by shuddering moment, Creed rose to his knees and then to his feet, blinking bloody tears from his eyes, spitting gobs of ejecta to the deck.
"We agreed. This place, this colossal trap. The entire purpose of it was to contain the Blood Angels, to push them to the abyss, to bring them to our banner, or destroy them."
The demon's horned head bobbed.
I can smell it on them. They do not see it, but the scarlet path passes beneath their feet. The correct application of pressure, and they would turn fully to it, marching to the skull throne. The bleak red release is in them all. The little angel knows it, even though he lacks the words. It is the one thing he truly fears.
Yes.
Said Horus.
I will give you the key to them. Use it. Strip away their dutiful nobility and virtue. Break them and bring me what is left. Make weapons of them for my crusade.
Creed tried to imagine that. The fury of the Blood Angels with no control, nothing to hold them back, no code, no morality, nothing but rage. They would become mindless killing machines, fit only to be cast down upon the enemy to destroy everything they saw until all was ashes. To take the angels' proud sons and remake them as blood-hungry berserkers would be a desecration of such magnificent power. But the breaking of Sanguinius himself would be the greatest challenge of them all. The War Master seemed to sense his thoughts, even across the light years.
He said, I want the Blood Angels for the crusade against my father, so that he can see his folly, so the Imperium can know that even the most noble can be corrupted, but not my dear brother.
A low rumble of amusement issued out of the demon's fanged mouth.
A detail becomes apparent.
Old, buried venom in Horus's words.
Sanguinius will never turn his face from the Emperor. Erebus is a fool to think it could ever be so. The angel must fall and never rise. Without him, his sons will embrace your scarlet path creature. They will be lost.
His eyes became hooded.
They will belong to your bloody king.
I see clearly.
Said the beast, drawing its great wings.
Your hubris is entertaining, Horus Lupercal. I see what you see. If the impossible were to happen, if the angel Sanguinius could be turned, then for the first time, you would have a true rival amongst your traitor allies. Perhaps one of the ruinous powers might grow to favor over you, given time. You do not wish to take that risk.
He will not turn!
Horus's shout shredded the smoke shape of the avatar, and it twisted angrily as it reformed.
None of you understand him as well as I do. But mark this, he will die, even if I must do the deed myself. On my soul, I swear it.
It will be as you say.
The demon brought its clawed hands together, talons scraping across one another.
And I accept my part in this.
Hellish eyes, burning red like murdered stars, turned to fix Tanis Creed in their sight. An expectant silence fell. The acolyte was not a fool.
I accept my part in this,
he echoed, quashing all hesitation. He would consider his collusion in defiance of Erebus's orders later, if he lived long enough to do so. Creed bowed his head and closed his eyes, listening to the echo of monstrous laughter, the stink of blood and sulfur all around him. When at last he dared open them again, he was alone with the meat of the dead. You see, this is really cool because with the books, you get a much more nasty and scary view and description of demons than you would normally see, like if it was painted in a book or on the tabletop, because in those dimensions you only have a limited amount of ways to convey the sheer horror of what a 40k demon should be. And I feel like when you put them into physical media, it like that, it tends to devalue their shock value a little bit. But when it comes to the actual books, like it's pretty powerful imagery, honestly. It's difficult to try to convey in words what an entity like a demon should be like. It's like explaining what Cthulhu looks like, or what Azathoth looks like, or something like that, where it's inherently chaotic, it's inherently indescribable. But I feel like the Horus Heresy books, specifically the first Heretic, Betrayer, Know No Fear, and this one, Fear to Tread, they go ahead and do a damn good job at actually describing these horrors of the warp and what they do to people. And it's really neat seeing the power of this creature. Like, you and me, we look at a Space Marine and we're just gonna get fucking bodied, like, without even any effort on his end. He's gonna body us. But to see a Space Marine get absolutely fucking humbled by a tiny flick of a claw like that is ridiculous, honestly. Like, my god, that is some power right there that not even a gesture can cause a Chaos Astartes to just convulse with being unable to expel fluids from his lungs. That is absolutely wild and terrifying to think about. And I love it. This entire book was great, honestly. Fear to Tread by James Swallow. It's a really good book. If you haven't read the book, it's all about the Blood Angels and their ambush at Cygnus Prime. And it has some really cool parts with Sanguinius putting the smackdown on Kabanda, and it's really cool. I personally love this book. It is great. Honestly, really great. At least one of the top 10s in the entirety of the Horus Heresy. So, yeah, honestly, give this book a chance. Give it a shot. Listen to it, read it, whatever. I will say though, my voice acting for the demon is way better than the book's voice acting. Like, my god, it's terrible. Like, here, I can see if I can play a snippet for you, and it's just
Samus was right. For an ephemeral, you are very clever, Horus Lupercal. You have my measure.
like, bro, it's no competition, honestly. I don't know what they were thinking when they did these voices like this, and thinking that, oh yeah, this sounds great for a demon, let's go ahead with this. No, fuck no. Absolutely not. Edit that shit, make it deeper. What the hell is wrong with them? But no, I hope you guys enjoyed this work. It's my first work back since being sick. That was a whole shit show of itself. Like, I got a gum infection in my wisdom tooth, and it was swelling, and it was at the hinge of my jaw, so I couldn't open my mouth wide enough to eat anything properly, because it would just be pain. Oh god, I'm so glad this is done and over with. Oh my god. Ugh. But yeah, like and subscribe if you want more. Hit that bell icon or whatever the young ones say in their new fangled YouTube videos. And yeah, have a great time. Bye.